Harder with Ashley.
Hi.
I'm, of course, your girl, Ashley. And I have a special guest with me today, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm also a local and, a weather lover.
Yes. So, we're going to talk about tornadoes today. So, like I said, I have her with me because aside from it being my favorite storm, it's also her favorite storm. So, we're just going to tell you some bases of it. I mean, if anything, tornadoes are definitely the most misunderstood storm out of them all. Of course, there's so much technology and so much, research on them, but they're still very misunderstood. So, like I said, I'm just going to give you the basis of them. What is a tornado? How do they form, at least, how to track them. And then she's going to, basically tell you how to do some tornado safety, because they can, strike anytime. And
you need to take the proper precautions.
Yeah.
You don't know where to go, if you live in certain homes, what you need to have in that area when you do. Anything can happen. A tornado literally can hit anywhere.
And at any time. So, I always want to try to be as prepared as possible. And that's with anything, how they tell you do fire kits, just in case of a fire. So, you have a tornado kit or a storm kit, like, for thunderstorms. They hit, knock electricity out. Now what? You're kind of stuck. So, we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So, a tornado. What is a tornado? A tornado basically is a violently rotating column of air that extends from the bottom of a storm cloud to the ground. And it doesn't normally become visible aside from the funnel cloud that you see. That's just a funnel cloud. It's not considered a tornado until it actually touches the ground. And of course that becomes visible because now those clouds are condensed, and then that rotating column of air is now picking up debris and dirt and everything from the ground, so it connects. And that's basically what it is. The width of it typically ranges from 150 feet to a half a mile wide, and then lengthwise, of course, it's from the bottom of the ground cloud to the ground. So it can be pretty long, but widthwise, yes, 150 feet to at least a half a mile. And the speeds can get up to at least 200 miles per hour or even faster. So about 75% of all the tornadoes in the world happen here in the U.S. And then you have about the 25, 30% that happens outside of the U.S. They happen here in the U.S. the most because, honestly, the U.S. just has the right conditions. The unstable atmosphere, flat land, that hot, moist air. Because, like I said, they form mostly from supercell thunderstorms. And to even get a supercell thunderstorm, you got to have that warm, moist air. That normally happens in the evening during the summer months. But tornadoes can happen any time of year or any time of day. It doesn't even matter. So a tornado forms within 5 stages. That first stage, of course, being the funnel cloud that emerges from the bottom of a cloud downward. Secondly, you'll have, the condensation from the funnel cloud drops to the ground and intensifies. Then you'll have its maturing stage, and its maturing stage is basically the stage where the tornado is full grown, is at its most intense. It can be big, strong, it can be a jumper, it can change directions, it can do all that. So that's the stage where the tornado is just doing its thing, basically, and then and it becomes more vertically erect, because when a funnel cloud first starts to fall, it kind of, is slanted most of the time. And then once, like I said, that condensation starts to form and things like that, and it's connected, it starts to get a more vertical structure. And then basically after that, it starts to shrink, and then it finally dissipates. And when it starts shrinking, it becomes more of like a rope-like structure, and it's no longer vertically erect, it's more to the side and it's thin. And then as it keeps going, it'll finally just dissipate. And those are the main 5 stages of, the tornado's life cycle. So tornadoes form mostly in supercell thunderstorms. And a supercell thunderstorm is those, big, tall, cloud that you see, which is a cumulonimbus cloud. But you'll have that, rotating air, and it normally rotates around a vertical axis, and that vertical rotation is called vortex tilting. You also have wind shear that can, form in these supercell thunderstorms. So, that's a big ingredient for tornadic activity. The air also in these storms flow parallel to the ground. So, like an example, so you can get, a better understanding of that rotation. So let's say you have a ball and you have some air, have that jet stream and that vertical wind shear is moving much faster at the top of the ball. And then you have some air at the bottom, but it's moving much slower, and it's also cooler air. So of course you have some that's going fast and one that's going slow. Eventually there's going to be a rotation that starts, and that's basically kind of what what happens during these supercell thunderstorms. I'm sorry, I'm outside, there's flies and bugs flying everywhere. But yeah, so that's an example of how you get that rotation within those storms. So you have this air that's going fast, then you have this other air that's going slow, and then that rotation hits in, then you have cool air sinking, you have moist air rising, and it's just, like I said, it's just some perfect ingredients for that rotation in those storms to get going. And you have that wind shear that helps it all. It's just perfect. It's like literally perfect for tornadic storms to occur. Like they can form in non-supercell storms, but it's very rare. Anytime you hear a tornado, it's because it's coming from a supercell thunderstorm. With these tornadoes, of course, you have them where they form the most frequent. And in this area, you get about 5 tornadoes every 10,000 square miles, which is Tornado Alley. I'm sure we all heard of Tornado Alley and know what that is. Tornado Alley, is basically the area of the United States where tornadoes occur the most. They're normally in the southern states, and you also get some in the Midwest. So it goes from about Texas, up to Iowa, places like that. You got Kansas. But they just have the right environment for these tornadoes, which is why they occur there the most. Actually, though, Florida, surprisingly, has the most tornadoes. They get the most only because of their atmosphere. They get that sea breeze at the end of all their summer days that forms thunderstorms in the evening, and then those thunderstorms produce tornadoes. They're not half as violent as the ones that you get in Tornado Alley, but you get those tornadoes there as well. So I know people have also heard of the Fujita scale. You've heard of F0, F5, then you also heard of EF. They're the same, but the F scale isn't used anymore because when they first originally started to rate tornadoes, it was mostly basically all for damage, but it just wasn't accurate. You have damage here, and then you'll have wind speeds here and this and that, and after a while, like as time went along, they just noticed that the F scale wasn't accurate enough, so they updated it so it could be more accurate, and now we just call the enhanced Fujita scale, which is the EF scale. So when you see or hear, a tornado was an EF or EF5, so it's the same, but now it's being recorded based on damage and wind speed. like I said before, it was more so just on the damage that the tornado left, but wind speeds play a very big role in that as well. Like I said, tornado does not last long. It can last up to an hour, but normally tornadoes only last between 10 and 30 minutes. And obviously, as you can see, it can do a lot of damage within that time. But the wind can get up to 200 miles per hour. That's just with one tornado. So that's like a big old hurricane that, normally lasts all day. That's like a big ass hurricane. Ooh, I'm so sorry, you guys. But that's just like a big ass hurricane, doing a whole bunch of damage. Like a category 5 hurricane doing a whole bunch of damage within 15 to 30 minutes. So wind speed becomes very important. So that's the enhanced fatigue scale. So you have your EF0 through your EF5 tornadoes. So aside from the EF scale, of course, you have tornado forecasting. When it comes to tornado forecasting, it's very hard just because using a Doppler radar, you cannot detect a tornado on a Doppler radar. How they figure out if there's a tornado in sight is because somebody called and was like, hey, I saw a funnel cloud, or hey, I saw a tornado just touched down. The Doppler radar can only detect rotation, which is why you'll have the watches and then you have the warning. So if there's a thunderstorm going on, a severe thunderstorm, they're going to tell you, hey, there's probably a tornado watch. That means that conditions are favorable for a tornado to be produced. And then once somebody call in or anything of that nature, then you'll have the warning. So now that means a tornado has been spotted and is on the ground and it is moving and you need to take cover. So that's really what tornado forecasting is. It's not too in-depth or advanced, but you'll have the Doppler radar that can sense and see rotation, but that's all they can see. So you, the people, are the reason why we know, hey, there's a tornado that has landed or there's a tornado somewhere. So keep up the good work. I mean, of course, like I said, you have to be safe, which is what we're going to talk about next, but gotta be safe, take cover when you see one, and heed every warning. Do not take it as a game at all. Okay, now, so like I said, she's going to tell you guys tornado safety, so we're about to get into that, and I'm going to let her speak.
Alrighty, everybody, no matter where you live, Tornado Alley, East Coast, some happen on the West Coast, rare occasions,
Very
but
rare, yeah.
just like here in Virginia, we get hit with the tornadoes actually pretty frequently, and people don't believe that because we have a lot of trees and we're hilly, but that's not the case. It actually makes it more dangerous because we can't see it because of the trees. So when you hear tornado warnings or see a warning on your phone, weather channel, on TV, news, that little warning at the bottom of the radio in the car, heed the warning. That means someone has seen a tornado in that area, and they also pick the surrounding areas because the tornado can go back up and come back down. From personal experience, I know. So what I'm going to say today and give you some tips on how to prepare for that. If you're in a home, townhouse or regular home, doesn't matter the build, the brick, ones with siding, it doesn't really matter. What you want to do is designate on your lowest level floor a room, a bathroom, or a closet, something with no windows. The most inner part, if you have a staircase, those rooms underneath the stairs are actually the most fortified place in the house. You have more structure to protect you. You would go in there, pretty much you'll put your whole family in there. You want to make sure you're safe.
And animals too.
Yes.
They are very important as well.
And they're also scared. They might be under your bed hiding. You want to make sure you protect them too. But you want to go in there. Inside closet is one of the best things. There's no windows. But unfortunately, if you have one of those bathrooms, if you have a one-level house, or you have to go into a bathroom where there's a window, people do suggest taking your mattress and putting it above or against the window to protect from shattered glass. Also, if it's a bathroom, they're also really important too. You'll see in movies people go into the bathtub, hide. That's actually a very smart thing to do. If your house were to collapse Your bathtub is the strongest thing in the house to protect you. They also just suggest putting the mattress over you in the bathtub if it's really just you or one other person, significant other, child, and you. Just use that. That's one of the most safe places to go. Heed the warnings. Even if you just have a regular door, if it has a lock, lock the door. Extra protection. You do not want to see that door just whip open. You'll be extra scared. Now we're going to get into what you should have in that room just in case. Like everybody has a hurricane kit, power outage kit, like Ashley mentioned. You want to make sure you have water, flashlights, batteries, and possibly candles, because your power will most likely be knocked out. What you also want to consider, since now we're in 2021, a portable phone charger.
Yes.
If the power goes out, if there's an emergency, you want to make sure you reach somebody. When you have an emergency, you don't think about, oh, my phone's charged, I need to charge my phone. You don't think about that until the very last minute.
Yeah.
And it's literally probably the only possession you have left.
It's a little too late, yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually one of the most popular things I suggest, and always make sure it is charged. Portable chargers, if not used over a certain amount of time, will depreciate its power. So always make sure at least monthly to make sure it's charged completely. Yeah. And that's just basic tips I suggest people would heed.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk more about it in the future if you live in like a mobile home or if you're on the road, but that's for another time. You want to see me again, right?
Right? Well, that's it, you guys. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I'm going to put both of our information in the bio below. So thank you again. Y'all have a good day.